Hello and welcome to another review of Drones Visual. If you think I'm about to play Tetris or build a Lego kit, you are right. Well, almost right. What I have over here is not exactly a Lego cube, but the latest product from Charsoon, the Magic Cube. Although I have seen it called the Magic Charger, Magical Cube, Cube Charger, and a few other names, I will stick to the name Magic Cube. For those of you who don't know Charsoon, this is a rather new company and they mainly manufacture batteries and chargers. The Magic Cube is one of the latest creations from Charsoon and I'm excited to give it a try. I'll try to release a couple of videos about it, being this the first one, but I think the first video will cover most of what you need to know about it. The Magic Cube should allow us to charge a variety of batteries with different connectors by adding cubes with different connectors to the main unit, but you will see more about that later. As I was saying, with the Magic Cube, you'll have the possibility to charge most battery kinds out there, from DJI Inspire to 6L batteries to tiny GST connector batteries. So it's kind of like one solution to all your problems. Okay, let's then take a look at what we might get with the Magic Cube. The first thing is of course the main Magic Cube, where all the magic happens. This is the brains of the operation, the chosen one, the mighty, Elohim, Pushan, Ra. Well, you get it, the main box. All the other units are extra accessories and you need to get them separately. Along with the main Magic Cube, we get the instructions manual, which confirms, as you can see, the magic nature of the device manufactured from demonic matter. So you can expect that your batteries will charge fast like hell. So keep an eye on them. The sticky numbers are very important to label the smaller cubes that attach to the main Magic Cube. Later in the video you will see why it's important to number these little minions. So don't throw them away, keep them around. And then these are the mini cubes, the minions of the almighty Magic Cube. They all respond to the commands of their master. You may have noticed that there are differences in these cubes. The more diverse your cubes are, the more kind of different batteries you'll be able to charge. So you can connect up to 16 of these fellows to the main cube. Please note that to power the whole system, you will need a power supply. If you already have a power supply, good for you. But if you don't, you can purchase one like this one for $14.99 at Banggood. The main cube can take from 11 to 18 volts, and this one supplies 12. On the front section of the Magic Cube, we will see a colorful screen. Well, not so colorful now, of course, because the unit is power off, but I will blow your mind when I turn it on later. This screen is around 74 millimeters if measured diagonally. Now, if we move to the rear section of the cube, we will be met there by the shiny connector, which is basically for the power supply, and a classic micro USB connector that can be used to upgrade the charger's firmware. But currently, there is no new firmware available. Under the charger, you will notice 4 tiny sort of legs that should prevent the unit from sliding in case your batteries decide by some reason to escape after being fully charged. But they just forgot to add some rubber to make them sort of stick in place more effectively. The connectors on the cube are protected by a plastic cover that can be easily removed. Just make some pressure downwards and voila! You expose the private parts of the charger. On this side we have the male connector. If you rather access its feminine side, well, then you have to remove the other plastic cover on the other side and voila, you expose the female connector. The small cubes are actually very simple and they look very similar, but the devil is in the details, although I have never seen him, but that's what they say. Just like the main cube, the small cubes have a male and a female connector. That's how basically bonding takes place later on, and I will show you that. This one here is the male connector, and then if we move to the other side, we'll find, as you probably can guess, the female connector. Now, this cube that I'm holding right here is basically, it has a balance port on one side, and that can take up to a 6S battery. But connectors may change depending on what cubes you purchase. Beside the balance connector, we get also on the cube, you can see here on the top section, there is a sort of like a ventilation opening there, to cool down the unit. And then on the right side, we have an indicator or LED light that I will cover a little bit later with more details. Now, other cubes will have different connectors. For example, this one does not have a balance port, but it does have actually 4 USB plugs that you can see there, and that will allow you to charge USB devices and USB batteries, like the ones, for example, with the e-chain goggles that have a USB connector. Then this cube over here has a connector to charge batteries from drones, such as like the DJI Inspire, the Phantom, and Unique drones, all those big birds. And this one has smaller connectors like GST and Pico Blade connectors, all those connectors for tiny batteries that you would use in your brushed FPV racers and helis, such as the Whoop and others. The cubes themselves, well, they feel kind of a little bit too plasticky for my liking. It feels like they could be crushed if you step on them by mistake, but in general, I suggest that you don't walk on your balance charger. I mean, you could try, but I advise you against it. Don't do it. Now, let's proceed to pair the main cube, the almighty cube, with the smaller ones, just to check how it's done. You maybe have noticed that these dents over here. Well, they'll guide the opposite cube until they're both locked in place. Then a connection will be established. Remember, male plug goes with female plug. We then move one unit towards the other, and once they touch each other passionately, you lift a bit the smaller cube and slide it through the dents, making some pressure, and you will sort of feel a click. Once they click, they will hold each other firmly. Their love is very strong, so to take them apart, you need to make some pressure in the opposite direction while slightly moving it from one side to the other until you feel they separate. As I was mentioning, the sticky numbers are important, as they will help you when you assign a number to the small cubes using the almighty large cube. The numbers you stick on your cube, they don't really need to reflect the number the main cube will program or assign to the smaller cubes, but ideally you want those numbers to match. I will explain this a little bit later in the video in case you didn't understand what I was saying. Basically, start now by selecting any cube and sticking a number of your choosing onto it. For example, I will select this cube over here with a standard balance plug, and I will call it number 3, as I already have number 1 and 2 around here. So the last time I checked, 3 was the next number after 2. So I will then go for 3. I'm not very good with this, but I think I can manage to stick it here properly. To power the main cube, it's enough to plug the power supply into it, but I advise you to plug this plug first and then connect the power supply to avoid sparks, because I got some sparks when I connected it the way I did here in the video. So I suggest that you rather connect the power supply first, connect this plug first and then connect it to the outlet. Once the device is powered, we will see the main screen. This screen contains information, has the input voltage, which is 12 volts in my case. It will also display whether you're connected via USB, and on top of that we will see charging voltage, the electrical current given in amps or C units, the capacity of the battery, and the diagram for each of the cells, charging time and other notifications indicating whether the battery is charging or fully charged, and some other error messages. In case you didn't know, the screen in this device is a touch screen. Ba-bam! That's why we don't have any buttons on the main Magic Cube. Everything is done through the touch screen. If you go to the first screen in the menu, it will reveal the system settings. These settings include max charge capacity given in milliamps, the max charging output given in amps or C units, then the max charging time, and finally the brightness of the display. Each parameter has a minus and a plus sign around it, so you can easily adjust them accordingly to your needs. Please note that every time you press the screen, the unit will make a beep sound. I have disabled those sounds in certain parts of the video not to annoy you, too much, but I also did not see a setting to mute the unit. So you need to get used to the constant beeping. Maybe this is something that will be fixed in the next firmware update. Regarding the output current, remember this unit can output a maximum of 5 amps. So that's as much as you can select here. On the second screen of the adjustment menu, you can get a new set of options. In this second screen, we can select the chemistry of the battery we are charging. We can select mode A or C, which will display the current value in amps or C units. The magic cube allows us to select 2 charging modes. One is basically charge, and the other one is store. The charge will charge each cell up to 4.2 volts for LiPo batteries, 3.6 volt for lithium batteries, lithium metal batteries, and 4.35 for lithium hydride batteries. The other mode is storage, which will keep LiPo cells at around 3.5 volts, lithium metal cells at 3.30 volts, and lithium hydride at 3.85. As I mentioned already, you can select between 3 types of chemistry: LiPo, lithium metal, and lithium hydride. Finally, the final screen of the menu will allow the magic cube to assign an ID or a number to each of the smaller cubes. Without the ID, the cube will not recognize some of the cubes. You can assign up to 16 IDs or numbers for a maximum, of course, of 16 cubes. I will show you this with more details now. For example, if you connect a cube, let's say, for example, you get a white light in the cube, this would mean that the main cube has not recognized the smaller cubes that you're attaching. So the first thing you want to do is to assign an ID or number to each cube one by one. The ID given by the main cube, basically by the main magic cube, does not need to match the number on the cube. I mean, the number that you in the sticky pad that you put on the sticky pad on the cube, it does not have to match that number, but I advise you, of course, that you make them match, otherwise you're gonna get confused. So you can change this ID later without any problem, so don't worry too much about that. The only thing you need to do is connect the cube, go to the area of the section where you assign the IDs, select an ID or number you want to assign to the cube, and once you select it, press OK, and the ID will be assigned to the cube. As I mentioned a while ago, you can assign up to 16 numbers, as you can basically have up to 16 cubes connected together. Remember that the light of the smaller cubes is important. As soon as you turn on the unit, the LED in the cubes will let you know whether the cube has been recognized. I mean, whether the cube, the main cube, has assigned an ID to the smaller cube. When the LED in the cube is white, basically no ID has been assigned to the cube. When it's green, the cube has an ID assigned to it, but the battery is connected, but not charging. Yellow, it means that the cube has no battery attached to it. And blue means that the battery is fully charged, and red that the battery is being charged. Hopefully I didn't get confused with all those colors, but I think that's the way it goes. Although let me tell you that the cube with the 4 USB is by some reason green always. I mean, you don't get like a red light when you plug some USB device into the USB cube. Let's now proceed to connect a balance board to the small cube here on the right to see what happens. You'll probably need one of these to charge batteries of smaller capacity than 6 cells, unless you modify a little bit the balance plug of the battery. I don't have a 6-cell battery. I will just try with the 3S battery and connect it here on the balance board. This balance board can take from 2S to 6S batteries, and it costs around 20 bucks, I think. But you can get them obviously much cheaper. As soon as we connect the 3S battery, we will hear a beep, and the charging process will commence. You can see here on the screen as the charger automatically adjusts the output and you can easily follow the whole process here on the screen. As I mentioned before, once the battery is being charged, the LED light on the smaller cubes will become red, and once the processing is completed, it will then turn blue. While you charge your LiPo batteries, you could, for example, attach another cube. In this case, I have connected the one with the 4 USB outputs, so I can basically charge up to 4 USB devices on this side. I can connect the power bank, the battery of the eChine FPV goggles. I mean, it's really up to you. As soon as you connect the USB device, you will see a screen showing you information about the charging process. Notice that the USB ports are labeled from 1 to 4 here on the screen. You can at any time alternate between screens by swiping your finger to the screen. In that way, you can keep an eye on what's going on the other cubes. The cool thing is that when you actually change screens, the LED lights on the cubes will let you know which cube belongs to which screen. For example, when you swipe the screen, one of the cube or the cube to which the screen belongs to will blink, letting you know, hey, this screen belongs to me. Although the main cube does not display temperature, it must have some internal temperature sensor that activates the cooling fan once the unit reaches certain temperature. Here you can hear how it sounds once the sensor detects that the temperature is higher than it's supposed to be, and then it triggers the fan to spin. Now, although the unit is warm, it's not boiling hot or anything like that, but I'm only using 2 cubes right now. I wonder what would happen when you stick 10 or 12 or 15 cubes together. Will it be able to handle it? The question remains, and I'm willing to try that. So I have ordered some other balance boards, and later on I will do some more videos about it, whether it can handle it. If you want to charge your Inspire or Phantom batteries or a Unique, you need to have the respective cable to make this happen. You need a cable like this, for example, if you want to charge your Inspire. You plug one end on the cube and the other end to the battery. Now let's do a final sort of overview and go over the options that you may want to get for your specific use, and let's go to the conclusions. The main unit or main charger or the main Magic Cube is sold as a single unit. This means it does not come with any power supply or any of the Magic Cubes. You need to get them separately, as I mentioned before. The unit is capable of outputting 50 watts and a current of 5 amps and can charge LiPo, lithium metal, lithium hydride batteries of up to 6 cells. The current price of the unit today, which is, let me see, yes, 2nd of March, is $29.69, which I think is pretty much dirt cheap. To power the unit, you will need a power supply. The one I use costs $14.99 at Banggood, and it can output 12 volts and a max current of 10 amps. So it should be fine for this balance charger. Then when it comes to the cubes, you need at least 1 cube to get started. The price of the cubes varies from $13.49 to $14.99. You could opt, for example, for the following combination of cubes. Magic Cube, for example, the main one, plus Magic Cube A, plus Magic Cube C. This combination will allow you to charge LiPo batteries up to 6 cells, and I will allow you also to charge your USB devices or FPV goggles if you have that kind of battery. If you have large drones like the Phantom, Inspire or Unique, you could, for example, opt for, let's say, main cube plus cube B plus cube C. Yeah. And then if you're into mini FPV racers like the Tiny Whoop and eChine mini FPV racers and stuff like that, you could opt, for example, for the main cube, cube C plus cube D. Although cube D I think is currently a prototype, but I think it will be available soon. You could pre-order it now. Now let's wrap up. So far, I mean, the Charsoon looks like an interesting new solution to charge your batteries. I mean, allowing flexibility regarding how much money you can invest at once and what needs you have in terms of battery charging. The unit itself comes at a very inviting price. I mean, think about it, under $30. and it has a nice level of automatization that will handle the charging process of different batteries simultaneously. Things that you may dislike about the unit, well, I think the build quality, it feels kind of like a little bit too plasticky. Also the fact that you can, you can imagine how this looks once you connect 16 cubes. It might look like some sort of anaconda in your living room. Also, it could be nice to have an option to mute the beeping sound that it produces when you touch the screen. I suspect this option might come with future firmware updates. So please, if you would like to add to something, if you'd like to add something to what I have said, just drop me some comments. I'll definitely get back to you. Also, if you find my video interesting or useful in any ways, give me a thumbs up and drop me some comments, and I'll definitely get back to you. Those of you who are interested in the topic of drones and would like to get the latest news and reviews directly from China, please do not hesitate and subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you all in my next video.